Hello, my name's Mae Cannon, and I'm the Executive Director of Churches for Middle East Peace. And I welcome those of you who are joining us live or those of us who will join us watching this later. I welcome you to these Eastertide Meditations, conversations we've been having with Christian leaders from throughout the Middle East during this period between Easter and Pentecost. And today we have a very special guest with us, Father Elias Khoury. Welcome. We're grateful to have you with us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here too.
Well, we were speaking that we've been introduced via email and digitally, and this is the first time we've seen one another face to face from across the Atlantic, from the Holy Land to the United States. So before we begin, I'd love to tell people a bit about your ministry and to introduce them to you. So Father Elias Khoury is a Palestinian citizen of Israel from Haifa. And I was interested to learn he began his career as an engineer, but then was ordained into the priesthood in 2002, serving until 2011 as an assistant priest at St. George Greek Orthodox Church in Acre, Israel. From 2006 to 2011, he served as a secretary and member of the Greek Orthodox Ecclesiastical Tribunal that handles family law matters for the Greek Orthodox Church in the Holy Land. He holds several degrees, a Bachelor of Law degree, and a master's degree in Theological Studies from the Hellenic College, the Holy Cross Greek Orthodox School of Theology in Boston, Massachusetts. So we sometimes have people join us from Boston as a part of the conversation. And then in 2014, since then, you've served as the local parish priest at St. Patrick Greek Orthodox Church in Jadeidi near Acre, as well as a high school culture and religion teacher. In his pastoral role, he focuses on interfaith engagement with Muslim religious leaders in Jadeidi, and as well as improving community access to theological education. Abuna is also married with 3 children. So that's a bit of that broad background. Before we begin and talk about spiritual activism, what called you from being an engineer to becoming a Greek Orthodox priest? That sounds like quite a journey.
Wow, it's a very complicated question actually. Now you started with that, but I won't be romantic if I will say it's a call, but it's also a process that was started in my heart to serve my church and my faith and my humanity through priesthood. Also, the being open to the Bible to understand it more deeply just makes me more reliable to my faith and to my community, and also the lack of people and young people to come to church and to serve it at that period of time. That also encouraged me to serve the church and the community, and also the other communities, not just the community that I serve in or I loyal to, but also the other communities as well. So
yes, well,
it's the call of Christ. I don't know
may we all be
answered your question or not.
Yes. May we all be obedient to the call of Christ.
Yes, definitely, we should do that.
Yes. Well, one of the things that's a priority for Churches for Middle East Peace is the sustainability of the church in the Holy Land. And you were speaking about how many people don't even know that there's Christians in Israel. You were saying that as a Palestinian citizen of Israel, you're a minority being in the Arab community, but then as being a Christian Palestinian citizen of Israel, that's a minority of minorities. And you're a part of the Greek Orthodox Church. So for many people watching, they might not be familiar here. Tell us about the Greek Orthodox tradition and what that means in terms of the community that you're a part of in Israel.
Yeah, and to make a long story short, actually, Christian Orthodoxy has been here in this land since the beginning of Christianity, and is connected through the Greek Patriarchate of Jerusalem, according to the tradition that we still observe. And once when I was in the United States, one of the students asked me, are you Christian? I said, yes. How come you, like, you speak Arabic, you're Arab, at the same time you're a Christian? That is impossible. I told him, are you Christian? Yes, I'm convert to Orthodoxy. He was coming from other denomination. So I told him, so I think my great-great-grandfather played soccer with St. George, you know, in Palestine. So, so I think that our families in this land connected to this land since the beginning, and we also observe those family tree, and we still believe that we are connected to that place, and we think that it's still the holy place that was accepted Jesus Christ, the place that Jesus Christ stepped on and made his miracles and gave his teaching, and we were handed those teachings from the disciples who were witness of his appearance, and through the Holy Fathers that lived here also, we received that faith. And that actually what makes us as a small community, small minority that passed through a lot of bad and very severe periods according to the history that this land witnessed. So we became a very small minority, and the only thing that we still have here, our faith and our church and our tradition, that keeps us strong and steadfast. For witnessing as a life witness of Jesus Christ in this land and in the history of humanity. So,
well, how appropriate as we look toward Pentecost. We often look in the scriptures, and it's a good reminder in the book of Acts when it says all of the people who were there at Pentecost. It talks about the Arab community being there at that time, and so it's a good reminder that your church.
Yes, he named there a lot of nations, and at the end he said the Cretes and the Cretes ke Arabas in Greek. So
yes, and that's a part of the tradition of which you are a part. Yes.
Yes, that's a part of Christianity as Christianity, to be diverse with this diversity and with this call to all the nations. So, and we believe our great grandfathers were here. We don't know, like, if there were Greek, Arabs, Syrians, Aramites, Jewish, from Jewish background. You can't know. You know how we have to do the test of
the DNA to see
DNA test
from where we come
know
from.
really who you are. But our DNA, we believe now, is the Orthodoxy and Christianity, and and if we tested, we want to believe that when they make a test to us, a DNA test, to find Jesus Christ in it, and nothing else.
Yes, yes. Well, tell us, so you're a local parish priest in Jadeidi, which is, my understanding, a village outside of Acre in Israel. Tell us about the village and the community. Tell us what your ministry life looks like.
Yeah, the meaning of the word Jadeidi means the new, or actually the new village. And it means that the place that is located this community is outside of Acre, and the people that lived there, they used to be like villagers, farmers, and things like that, that they established this village as a new village, and they start to build a new life there. So, and we can see that this village is still a small place. The community is getting bigger and bigger, and it's connected with another village that called Al Makr, which is old, very old village, and it's called Al Makr. It means the center or the place, which used to be a place for the Roman army, so, or a base for the Roman army. So, and now it's kind of getting bigger and bigger, and the community there is something like 21,000 people living in this two villages together, that they are united in one municipality. And the Christians actually is 1,500 in the two villages from the Greek Catholic Church and from the Orthodox Church. In Jadeidi, we have something like 500 and something, like 520. You know, we have newborns and stuff like that. So, and some of the young people live. So we have something like 500 people. It's almost like 105 families that we have in my parish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very small community, and they live in the biggest community, which is the majority are Muslims there. And we are trying to keep a very, good relationship with our fellow brothers there.
Mm-hmm.
And we have sometimes kind of interfaith meetings. We don't actually discuss very deep theological issues, but we are trying to have to keep actually in good in common relationship, good relationship, and even more like neighbors, and we live together. So we have also things that we are sharing together. So that is a very, very powerful thing that we are having those meetings, especially in feast days of Christians and of Muslims. We visit each other, we greet each other on those feasts, and also sometimes that if there is any problem or any conflict in the village, we try to solve it spiritually, and not to make it a greater problem.
Right.
And the village in Jadeidi, it has its complicity as a Arab village inside of the Israel authority, because most of the Palestinian that live in Galilee and in other places in Israel, they have citizenship, Israeli citizenship, because they were born there actually, and before the establishing of the state of Israel. So
all the way back to 1948. Yes.
Yes, 1948. So they stayed there. They kept their places. The history. I don't want to discuss it now, but a lot of villages were actually removed, and the people went out, and a lot of people came from nearby villages to this village. Those villages were destroyed back then, and they came and they lived in the Jadeidi village.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a witness from the old days that the church itself was built 25 years ago. 125 years ago, this special church. I told you it was a new village, and then there was, and it's called St. Patrick, which is very unique. You know, the American Irish people maybe.
I come from an Irish Catholic background. All of my uncles have the middle name Patrick.
Okay, that's nice. But the issue that it's not the same Patrick that actually evangelized the Irish people. It's a saint from the 3rd century who were martyred. He was a bishop that he were martyred in Borsa in in Asia Minor, what it's called today, Turkey.
Yes.
So it's
a Middle Eastern Saint Patrick.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
And he why it was called Patrick actually, because the bishop of Acre then, which this village was in his jurisdiction, his name was Patrick. He visited the new village, and he wanted to serve the people there, and all the people came to greet him and to accept him when he came to the village. And one of those people was the Mufti of Acre, who has a lot of lands in this village. And Mufti, he was actually a Muslim leader.
Yes, the mayor, the one who controlled the city. Yes, the Mufti.
Exactly. So he gave this small piece of land to the Christian community to build this church.
Wow.
And his name was Mahmoud Al-Arabi. And his family is still there. His grandson and great-grandson, they're still there, and we have good relationship with them.
Wow.
So it's very nice and unique, incident that happened there, and therefore we're still keeping very nice relationship with our brethren Muslims.
Your Muslim neighbors. It sounds like that's one of the things you focus on significantly. Tell us, we're familiar that the Christian community in East Jerusalem and the West Bank and Gaza, it's diminishing. It's now less than 2%. It's a very small community. For Christians in Israel, we hear sometimes that the community of Christians in Israel are growing. I'm interested to hear your perspective in that regard, as you talked about your 100 families and babies being born, and what does reality look like in terms of your church community specifically, but Christians in Israel in general?
Yeah, actually, Christians in Israel are not growing. This is it's not true, because still also a lot of people immigrate from the Christian community from Israel. And also our brother in the West Bank, we know the difficulties that they live in, and the situation that is not the perfect place to stay. So a lot of people also immigrated. But inside Israel, there is also another issue that Christians also get married very older also. When they marry older, and they don't bring like a lot of children as it used to be in the past. So we have also the fertility rate is very low.
Yes.
And it's the lowest rate in Israel. It's less than the Muslims, definitely less than the Jews, and even the Druze, if you know about the Druze community.
Wow.
Even less than them. So we are with the birth fertility, like the lowest in
the natural demographic shift.
Like actually 1.1 or 1.2 fertility rate that we have inside of the state of Israel.
Yes.
In Gaza, we have a lot of people that left Gaza, a lot of people that immigrated. So we still have very, very small community there. You know, Gaza Strip has more than 2 million people, and I think that what remain of Christianity there, it's less than 7,000 people, which is very big. You know, it's a shame and a very big problem. Once in the old days, Gaza, which is built on a place that also was called in the Byzantine period, Mayuma, and we have Saint Porphyrius there, and we have also Saint Cosimas, the brother in adoption of Saint John the Damascus. You know, it has a very long history to in our tradition to us, and unfortunately now people leave, and you know, it's a war all the time, and they can't stay there.
Yes. Well, one of the things we wanted to talk about, I can't believe our time is almost up. We have just about 5 minutes left. It almost has disappeared. But we wanted to hear about the spiritual life of your congregation and to receive some words of spiritual encouragement from you. We've heard that over the Holy Week, and as you've been having a time with your congregation, that you've been meeting via Zoom, that many families are joining online. So tell us what that has been like in terms of worship, and then we would love to hear from you a word of spiritual encouragement.
Yes, actually we have those you know, preaching and teaching all through you know, all over the year, and through this period, the you know, the COVID-19, people you know, were banned to come to the church, and so we tried to find solution like any other places, and we found the live Facebook and the Zoom as a solution for that. So we started to make those prayers to the people. I started with my family and with the chanters also. Sometimes I broadcast it from home, sometimes from the church with 2 or 3 chanters, and we served. And we also give a spiritual speech about each day during this period, during the Lent also, and after then during the Holy Week and the Easter. Or Pascha. I don't like the word Easter. It makes me, you know, I don't know why people called it Easter, but it's, you know, another discussion.
Yes.
But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know the word Easter, where did it come from? Anyway, but the issue that we started, you know, making those online, you know, prayers and, you know, preaching and readings, and all of a sudden we had also together on Facebook and on the Zoom together, we had like 75 people, you know, reacting to those prayers, and we tried to do also with a chanter from home that they used to read things, you know, prayers, and we tried to, you know, involve people with that, you know, to feel they are connected and they're not isolated and far away from the church. It's not an easy issue to be disconnected from the Eucharist, which is the main issue of the, you know, of the Orthodox Church. It's the heart of it, and people are not having communion, and the Eucharist is served through, you know, this media, and the people are not, you know, actually relaying to it, and it's very sad. But we hope that this period will pass, and it will be history very soon.
Yes, may it be so. That's a good word for us to end on in terms of the crisis and in terms of ways
I
family.
have a little word to say at the end from 1 Corinthians 10:13, that say that there is no any, I'm trying to translate it from Arabic, okay? That there is no any experience will happen to you, and it would be just a fleshy or human experience or a temptation, but God is faithful that will not let us to be tempted more than we can. But He will give us with each temptation also He will open the door for us, and He will give us counseling, and we won't carry more than we can. So by this meditation now on this passage, I would like to say that if God actually let us pass through this kind of pandemic, I think that God has reason for that. Maybe this period is good for us, and we can take benefit of it to meditate more on the gospel, to meditate more on our faith, to have to build more, actually to build or rebuild our relationship with our fellow people, with the people that we live at the same place, to bring the family back together, to gather it. And it's good also for us to remember that we are built to have communion with God and communication with others. So we need that reflection now more than ever, and to remember that God is still alive with us, still in us, and He actually give us this blessing, I will call it, and not pandemic, because it might remind us that we are still very weak and small, and with Him we will be stronger and will pass through this exam.
What a
I hope
beautiful.
that I was understandable when trying to translate
What's
directly from Arabic. And
what's the verse? It's from Corinthians.
Yeah.
What's the actual verse?
It's 1 Corinthians
Yes.
10:13.
1 Corinthians 10:13, that you will not be tempted more than what you can bear, but God is faithful.
Exactly.
He will stand up and give us comfort and provide for us abundant peace. That's a beautiful word. Would you be willing to close us in prayer, Father?
Yes. Do you want me to pray in Arabic and English?
As you would prefer.
Okay, I will try to use the Arabic and to stimulate the ears for the people, to remind them that Arabic also very connected to Aramaic, the language that Christ spoke, and proclaim His message to His disciple.
Beautiful. Shukran katir.
نشكرك يا رب على كل خيراتك ونعمك. نشكرك يا رب لأنك أعطيتنا هاي الفرصة إنه نعبر عن تواصلنا مع الآخرين، نعبر عن حاجاتنا، نعبر عن محبتنا للآخرين ولإلك. نطلب منك يا رب إنك تبارك شعوب الأرض كلها وتعطيهن النعم والبركات والخيرات من أجل تخطي هاي المحن، وإنك تكون كيف أنت وعدت يا رب معنا إلى منتهى الدهر، كيف وعدت تلاميذك، وهذا الوعد كمان يتحقق فينا إحنا عبيدك. آمين. I said that I thank God, and I ask Him to give us this opportunity to be open to each other and to have communication together, and to lead us to the truth, to lead us to be witness to His faith, And I asked him to stay with us and keep his mercy upon us, as he promised the disciple that he will stay with them forever, and through them he will stay also with us. And I want to thank you again, and thank the hearer. And my message also at the end, that I actually want to all the people even in the United States and all the world, to understand and to remember that there are Christians here. We are a life witness of Christ and his message. We're still trying to practice his teaching, and we need also to be connected through prayers, one each other, and we ask the prayers, we ask the support and the spiritual support, because we need to pray one each other as Christ and as the gospel said. So thank you very much, and it was my pleasure to have this conversation with you, and it's a big blessing to me.
Shukran, Abuna. Thank you. Blessings to you, and we will pray alongside of you until we meet again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Blessings.